Welcome to Eat, Walk, Play, a podcast about good eats, great travels, and grand adventures. Each week, we deliver fun interviews and engaging conversations with fellow food lovers, globetrotters, and adventure seekers. I'm your host, Era Prado. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Eat, Walk, Play podcast, the show that brings you fun interviews and engaging conversations about good eats, great travels, and grand adventures. This week, we're joined by a talented and lovely lady who honestly is my fitspiration. She's also a vlogger who documents her life in the Big Apple. Chatting with us today from New York City, we have Camille Ortiz. Hi,
Hey
Camille.
everyone. Hi Ara.
How are you? How are you doing in New
I'm
York?
good. I'm so excited to do this podcast with you. It's really one of my dreams, starting my own podcast, but maybe guesting would do for now.
Wow, that sounds really good. Because I've always wanted, because just to let everyone know, one of my frustrations in life is actually to be a radio DJ, call it DJ,
Oh,
right?
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
But
sound like a DJ.
thank you, thank you. But no, that sounds really good. I do think you should start your own podcast as well. But before you do, can you give people a brief introduction of who Camille Ortiz is? Because I
Mhm.
mentioned, it's not an overstatement, by the way, when I say that you are like fitness goals, right? Because you
Aw.
are
I really
like,
try my best to keep that as a secret, but now that you mentioned it,
it's not a
I'm
secret.
shy.
Like, we see your Instagram and Facebook videos and pictures, and just like, wow. Can you just like
Oh,
tell
thank
people that
you.
Camille Ortiz, the artist, the fitness inspiration?
Well, I'll try my best not to talk about that fitness side of me because I want to focus more on the designer Camille,
Mm. Okay, all
if that
right.
makes sense. So, yeah, I'm Camille, and I'm actually currently working as an interactive designer in a design agency in New York.
Mhm.
I moved here in the US last June of 2019, so that was just last year.
Mhm.
And it's almost been a year already.
Yeah.
As an interactive designer, it's basically just a graphic designer because when people ask me, what's an interactive designer? I've never heard of that. I just say it's basically just a graphic designer, but I focus more on animated graphics, animated like
Mm.
digital campaigns for different brands. And, most of the time I would like to call myself the all around designer
Mhm.
because I also do like packaging designs, logo designs,
Mhm.
basically all designs for both print and web.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're very talented. So just to let you
Thank
guys
you.
know, Camille and I actually worked together for a couple of
Mhm.
months before she had to leave the company to pursue this career in New York.
Mhm.
But firsthand, I know that you're very talented, and that's why we couldn't really stop you from leaving because it is a great opportunity,
Yeah.
this job in New York. But just to actually talk about that, actually before jumping into that, because
Mhm.
one topic that I think everyone is aware of right now is the COVID-19 situation,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
COVID-19 pandemic. And New York City is known as one of the cities really badly hit
Yeah, like
by
the
the pandemic.
epicenter.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and like how is the situation there right now? And you are in New York City, so you are actually smack dab in the middle of the I would
Mm.
say the problem. So
Mhm.
how's that?
Well, actually right now I'm staying with my sister and her family in Virginia. So I'm currently not in New York,
Mhm.
thankfully. And Virginia is just like 4 hours away from New York via bus. And I've been here since I think March when COVID was just starting to spread in New York.
Mhm.
because my company allowed everyone to work remotely, you know, because they
That's
realized
good.
that it's much safer for everyone to just stay at home,
Mhm.
work and be with their families. So the day they announced the work from home policy, I immediately packed my stuff and left the city the next day, which is, I think, a really great plan.
Yeah, it was perfect, I think. You couldn't
Yeah,
have
perfect timing. Yeah.
yeah. That's
Yeah, because
really
because
mhm.
few weeks late before few weeks after that, I think they locked down the city for a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
So if I didn't leave the city, I would be stuck there alone in my apartment, which is
Oh,
sad.
yeah, which sad and dangerous, I would say. That's really,
Mm-hmm.
that's really shocking actually what happened in New York City because it was just like today no, New York was normal and then the next day we were just like hearing that
I
New York has this like big
know.
problem. It's
Yeah, it,
it's
it was
insane.
all of a sudden.
Yeah, it was insane. So yeah, because yeah, it's really great that you're not in the city right now. Glad that you're
Mm-hmm.
keeping safe in Virginia. I also like that you said 4 hour, just 4 hours by a bus,
Yeah.
like 4 hours. That's pretty far, but like, how is
Not
Virginia?
really that far.
Right?
It's really different. You know, it's the total opposite of New York. Like New York is really crowded, noisy, like the typical city. In Virginia, it's really peaceful,
Mm,
serene, really quiet. It's like
hmm.
families are here, so it's pretty much safer here.
Very
And I'm
suburban.
really,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, it's relaxing, and I'm really thankful that I'm here.
Are you thinking of moving there permanent? No, I'm just joking because your work is technically
Well,
still in New
we'll
York.
get there. Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, so let's actually talk about that because I feel like when you moved to before moving to New York actually before you left the Philippines, I remember we had like a brief conversation just about
Mhm.
how you feel about moving to New York because
Mhm.
it's not an easy undertaking, right? Like
Yeah, it's not.
first off, you when you went to the because your family's there. You have your sister is there, right? Your sister's family is
Yeah.
there in Virginia, but
Mhm.
you're moving to a different city far away from them. Like again, it's like that's still 4 hours away. In
Yeah, it's
Filipino,
still
that,
for
that's still
hours.
it's still kind of far. Um,
Mhm.
and it's not like you're going there for vacation. You're actually going there to start a
For
new
work.
life, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And how was that? How was that for you? Like how was that
Uh,
starting over?
oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin because it is a really long story of how I made this decision.
We're all ears.
So, the idea of moving to New York happened when I first visited the city last. I'm not sure if that was 2018 or 2017 with my family. It was my sister's wedding that time,
Mm,
who's living in Virginia. And, you know, we did a side trip to the Big Apple since it was just 4 hours away from Virginia. So, yeah, we stayed in New York for a couple of days. So, you know, we did some touristy things, walked around the city, took lots of photos, went to different places, stuff like that. And the whole time we were there, I was just in complete awe of everything, like
mm,
literally everything, the beautiful chaos that I only used to see in the movies,
right.
the people that are always in a hurry, even the subway, the huge
Mm,
buildings that I only get to see like on postcards or even
yeah.
wallpapers.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. And when I was there, I just kept thinking and telling myself, I wonder what it feels like to live here, to be a local or to be a part of this
Hmm.
crazy, beautiful jungle.
Hmm.
And on our last day, this may sound so cheesy, but it's always so funny to remember this moment. We were in our Uber going to the airport. I
Hmm.
was just looking outside, staring at everything we passed by, and I
Hmm.
swore to myself that moment, I'm gonna make it happen. You know, whatever happens, I'm gonna do it. So that's the moment where I made the decision. It's
Hmm.
really fun. It's really funny and cheesy, but
No, it sounds really good.
yes,
Like it sounds like movie like almost,
yeah,
right?
movie
Yeah.
like, right?
But
So
yeah, that
cute,
that that
cute
makes
with cheesy
sense.
music.
Mm. Yeah, cute cheesy music. We'll try to insert that here. No, but that's really interesting because when usually making that kind of decision, that kind of commitment is no joke. But of course, like
Yeah.
because like I myself, I mean, I never really saw myself as living in New York City because I felt like that's just too chaotic for me. But
Mm-hmm.
New York is New York, you know? Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
everyone has to visit
Yeah,
the
it's
city at least
everyone's
once.
dream.
Yeah, I mean, New York City is home to two of my favorite sitcoms of all time,
Mm-hmm. Oh, friends, I
Friends
like that.
and
Yes.
How I Met Your Mother. So like I just want to wander the city as well and just like try to picture that whole thing happening. But making that decision from that point and actually doing it, that must have been a different
Mm-hmm.
challenge for you, right? The fear,
Yeah.
the yeah. So can you walk us through like the challenges? What was
Mm-hmm.
going through your mind?
It's a lot. It's not just fear, it's everything. It's
Mm,
anxiety, self-doubt,
mhm,
you're scared, everything. So it's really a combination of both negative and positive like
mhm,
emotions.
mhm,
So actually, when we got back to the Philippines, I already did my research, contacted agencies. I even like watched vlogs like how to apply for a visa,
mhm,
what's
mhm,
it like living in New York City. When you go to YouTube, just type the a day in the life of a designer in New York City, stuff like that. It really made me excited. So I
mhm,
feel like it's a huge factor why I really pushed through with my decision.
mhm,
But let me tell you that it really didn't happen overnight. It
mhm,
actually took me, I think, if I'm not mistaken, like 6 to 8 months to process everything.
mhm,
And honestly, there were days where I feel like I wanted to back out because the whole process itself was already so overwhelming and so exhausting.
mhm,
Like I had to go through different Skype interviews, had to answer tons of dreading emails. Um, I also had to go through the US Embassy for my visa application, which is scary.
right.
Pay everything, pay the fees because obviously it's not free.
Yeah.
So all that is already so overwhelming. And that's
Yeah.
just like the tip of the iceberg, you know?
Right. Right.
And it's mentally draining at the same time. But yeah, so after everything, you also have to also have to book a plane ticket. I
Mhm,
have to figure out the commute from my apartment to work. Basically just research everything way ahead because you
mhm,
don't want to go there like clueless.
right.
And I remember there were even nights where I just cry and doubt myself if I'm really making the right decision because I felt like it was just a, an impulse decision. I felt
Mhm,
like I was just so excited
mhm,
that I made that sudden decision. And I even asked my mom if this is the right thing to do.
mhm,
And I remember she told me, is that really what you wanted to do? Do you think that decision will make you happy, or do you think that decision will benefit you in the long run? And that's when I realized that, yeah, I really wanted to do this. And
mhm.
I would really regret not
Not doing
doing
it.
this.
Mm.
Yeah, for let's say 5 years from now, I would always look back at this and ask myself, why didn't I do this? So, yeah, fast forward to like almost 8 months.
Mhm.
I packed everything, I left everything and moved
Mm.
to New York. So here I
Okay.
am.
Right. And if you don't mind, I just want to back up like a couple like what was it like receiving that? Did you receive a letter like telling you that you got approved? Did you receive a phone call? Like what was that? What was that experience like
It was
them telling
actually
you that you got approved?
a super long process because, yeah, like I mentioned, I have an agency who basically prepared everything for me. They even
Okay.
looked for companies.
Mhm.
So I actually went through like 2 to three companies who interviewed me.
Mhm.
And yeah, this one company really liked me, which is my company right now.
Mhm.
And it was a series of Skype meetings, Skype calls late at night because obviously the time difference,
Mhm.
the
Right.
12-hour time difference. So yeah, I can't believe everything took 6 to 8 months to prepare
Right.
everything.
Okay. Real quick, you know what? I just want to, before we talk about like how life is like, or because the challenges you faced here in the Philippines before, actually flying out, that's a different set of
Hmm.
challenges when you actually arrived there. That's a completely
Hmm.
different story, right? But before
Yeah.
we delve into that, I just want to say how amazing that must have been for you, because like getting accepted by a company in New York
Hmm.
for a field that is, it's an art field, I would say. Like it's an art
Hmm.
field that you're in, and
Yeah.
New York City is known to be the hub of artists, right? I mean,
Creatives. Yeah.
creative people. And the fact
Hmm.
that you got in a company, um you were tapped by a company who I'm pretty sure has a lot of talented people on board, and they don't have
Hmm.
a short they don't have a short uh, coming or short list of people
Hmm.
looking to join the company, but you got that opportunity, and they
Yeah.
actually, that must have been amazing for you, like.
It was amazing. Yeah. And I feel like I was lucky that time because like I said before, most companies are shifting from print to digital.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it happened that during that time, I was familiarizing or getting familiar with the animation, because companies are starting to use social media for their campaigns, for digital campaigns,
Right.
and companies are getting bored with basic static posts,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I felt like doing animations was an asset for me that time.
Mhm. Mhm. So that's really good. So anyway, as I said, I would get back, or we would get back to your
Mhm, the
challenges in New
specifics.
York, right? So
Yeah.
fast forward the plane ride, and you
Mhm.
got to New
We're
York.
now in New York.
We're now in New York. It's
Mhm.
cold. How was that like then? How was the challenge? Because I'm pretty, because again, I feel like the only information I have of New York City is of what I
It's
have
beautiful.
seen, right? What I have
Mhm.
seen on movies, on TV shows,
Yeah.
and this thing that keeps, I guess, running through my head when somebody says New York, I picture cramped apartment, a very
Yeah.
expensive cost of
Mm.
living, and also a little bit dangerous. So,
Yeah.
as a single woman in New York City starting a new life, what was that like?
Okay, so I mentioned before that preparing for it was a different story.
Yeah, yeah.
But actually being in it, like living the dream was a whole different level of
Mhm,
difficulty.
mhm,
Like we've seen in the movies, pretty apartments, single women being independent, buying
mhm,
groceries with flowers, all the pretty things. It's the total opposite of the life I'm living
mhm,
in. Like
mhm.
currently, I am renting an apartment in Brooklyn, but I share my apartment with three other roommates, which
Oh.
I didn't know them from the beginning. So when I moved there, it was the first time that I met them. So imagine the I was so paranoid that time, even my mom, because actually my mom traveled with me from the Philippines to New York.
Mhm,
She guided me all throughout the process.
mhm,
So it was the first time when I met them. So it was scary, but thankfully they're all nice. They eventually became my friends.
mhm,
But I just want to emphasize how different it was in the movies and in real
mhm,
life.
mhm. Right.
And so yeah, being in it, it was a different level of difficulty. Like I had to adjust to the environment. Yeah, sure, I visited New York before, but I never really got the chance to familiarize myself with
Mhm.
everything. I was just there as a tourist before, but now I am considered a local.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it was so overwhelming. Like even the subway, like me as a Filipina who grew up in Manila,
Mhm.
and even when I was in college, I got used to commuting around, you know. I
Alright.
don't have a car before,
Mhm.
but using the subway in New York and trying to figure out things, it was so confusing. Like it
Mhm.
actually took me months to familiarize myself. And
Oh.
even after a few months, I still use my Google Maps all the time
Mhm.
because I feel like I'm not going to be able to survive that jungle without my phone.
Right.
So that's just one thing.
Yeah.
And settling in, it was super difficult because I have no all I have that time was my clothes,
Mhm.
and my apartment was empty, so I had to buy my mattress,
Mhm.
my table, everything. So it
Yeah.
was really overwhelming, I would say,
Right.
because I had to do everything from scratch.
Mhm. Right. So that was actually what I that is what I figured, it must have been really, really tough because when watching again, just like going back to the TV shows because I feel like it's the only
Mhm.
reference I really have.
Yeah.
Having roommates in New York City, I feel like it's the norm because the rent is
Yeah, it
just
is.
so
It's
expensive, right?
cheap. I mean, it's cheap if you share the apartment with
Right,
your roommates. But
exactly,
yeah,
right?
you
Um,
know, funny thing, actually, before I officially moved to New York, I was looking for an entire apartment for myself
mhm,
because I've watched vlogs, I've watched series or movies, like people being able to afford an entire apartment.
right. So like
Being
how?
being in it, I was like, it's impossible, you know?
Yeah,
How do people afford these expensive ass apartments?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
I've seen one too many episodes of TV shows wherein the episode actually revolves around the characters looking for
Mhm.
apartments that are actually really good
Right?
and affordable because
I
I feel like
know.
it's one of the biggest challenges of being in New York City is just really finding a good
Mhm.
home, right?
Yeah.
So, just actually, there was one thing that I want to go back to the
Mhm.
subway issue. We always see these posts of funny things. I would say funny and bizarre things, stories happening in New York City subways, or just like subways
Uh-huh.
in general.
Oh my,
General.
yeah.
New York is filled with, I would say, colorful people, right? I feel like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a nice
I
term,
get
color.
what you're saying, yeah.
And so is that like the reality? Is there any reality to that? Like, do you really see a lot of different people? Do you also encounter bizarre um
Mhm.
scenes happening? Have you seen a flash?
Well, yeah. Oh my God, I feel like I've seen everything.
Really?
Even those things that I didn't want to see, I saw them.
Are we talking
But
about, like, people flashing? Like, those people wearing trench coats and
um
just, like, flashing themselves
so
hard?
there's actually this one funny story. So in the subway, it's full of, I don't know how to say it in a nice way. Like beggars.
Okay. Mm,
Like beggars stay in the subway. They sleep there. They pack their stuff. They stay there for a long time.
mhm.
And I couldn't believe when I actually saw like a beggar poop actually poop inside the train.
Oh
And I
god.
I swear to God, and I asked my friend who's been living there for years. I was like, "Is that normal?" And she was like, "Oh God, yeah. People actually, I mean, poor people actually go there to pee, to poop inside the train." And I was
That
like,
is
"Are
messed
you
up.
fucking kidding?"
That is so messed up. I was not
I
expecting that. I was really
swear.
not expecting that.
I'm sure no one's expecting that. Even me, I wasn't expecting that.
I
It's
would not like to
crazy.
I really don't want to experience that aspect of New York. But
Yeah,
that's
but truth
crazy.
bombs.
That's almost like a literal bomb, right? That's insane.
you know,
That is
ever since I've encountered that, I never touched the bars on the inside of the train. I never
ah
touched
that
anything.
wise decision. Wise decision. I guess that's why COVID really just like
I
exploded
know.
in
Oh
the
my,
city. That
yeah,
God,
for
that's
sure.
insane.
Yeah.
I mean, well, in my defense, I haven't really ridden a lot of trains here in the Philippines, nor have I ridden a lot of like MRTs, LRTs.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone actually ever pooped in our trains.
I
That
thought our train system or the MRT LRT in the Philippines is the worst.
mhm.
But wait till you go to New York.
Ah,
It's
fudge.
insane. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I
And
think
so
I
like
just got used to it.
well, I feel like, when you live in New York, you just like you
Okay.
naturally
Yeah.
have to develop thick
I'm
skin,
immune,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and I always hear about people in New York just like, "Oh, you know what? Minding my own I'm just gonna mind my own business, you know."
Yeah,
Just like
exactly.
so that's really interesting. And I'm sure the city is a fast pace, it's really fast paced. Like
Yeah.
it's not a place for
Like
people to just
everyone's
like
in a hurry. I feel like I'm already part of that crowd.
right,
Like I'm
that's
always in a hurry. I get them now.
mhm. That's really interesting. And just to let our audience know, Camille actually has a YouTube channel where she documents
Yeah.
these I guess in day to
A
day
day in the
yeah,
life.
a
Yeah.
day in the life of Camille
I
in New York.
actually stopped after a few weeks or months because it's so hard
Mm.
to take out my camera and film while everyone's in a
Ah,
hurry. I find it really difficult. I think it's possible if you don't have a day job,
mm, mm.
like
I feel like you should
vloggers in New
though.
York.
I mean, especially now that
Mm,
you're in Virginia, I feel like it's a little different. Actually, it's not a little
mm-hmm.
different, but it's very
Yeah, it's a
different from New
big
York.
difference.
I feel like it's going to be a nice change of pace for
Mm-hmm.
your, a little bit a nice change of pace, a little bit more
Maybe,
laid back.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, because I've seen your videos and they're really interesting. They're very artistic. So Camille's
Oh,
videos
thank
are,
you.
yeah, because first off, you're an artist, and this
Mm-hmm.
is this is this is what you do. I mean, I'm just really happy the quality of work. I'm just looking at the thumbnails and they're like really,
Thank
really
you.
good.
Aw.
This is what
It
I
took me
aspire
days.
to achieve. This is the kind of art and talent that I'm hoping to achieve. But yeah, you're just like really good at it. So I really
Thank
hope that you can
you.
continue um
Mhm.
feeding your audience because it's really good. It's really quality. Like I love watching the videos and just like seeing what is happening in New
Thank
York. what
you.
what
Uh-huh.
does Camille
That's the
see?
beautiful side of New York.
I assumed so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was because it seemed like, I remember the
Like
first
how
video.
you've seen it in the movies.
Yeah, exactly, right? And you have these like filters. I remember
Mhm.
a video that I watched, there's this filter and this like music that's sort of like relaxing and classy. And it's
Mhm.
like you feel like you're in like a 1920s setting just like with the music and
Mhm.
the color and yeah, that's I'm pretty sure that was meant to deceive. No, but if they
Yeah, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, I'm sure like New York is great, but it's not all rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah.
So I assume that
Mhm.
you were showing us like the good things. But again, no harm in that because
Yeah.
you were at one point wearing the rose-colored glasses, right? When you were a tourist in New York City.
Mhm.
Uh you didn't
That's
have
true.
enough time, I would say. You didn't have enough time to see the gory
The bat.
parts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because when you visited with your family
Mhm.
during your sister's wedding, I don't think you had enough time to really focus.
Experience the real life.
Yeah, it's more like you were probably seeing it, but you were not paying it much attention to it because you were so overwhelmed by the beauty of
Mhm.
New York. But how was that like? Like, when did you realize that there's this shift of being a tourist and then being a local? Or are you somehow in the middle still, or do you have these moments wherein you still feel like you're a tourist?
Mhm. So, it's one of the perks of living and working in New York City. Like, I never run out of things to do, places to visit.
Mm,
And maybe that's why people have easier time adjusting or they feel less homesick because, I mean, how can you be homesick in a beautiful city, right?
mm, mm,
And honestly, even after how many months of being in New York, I've always felt like I'm still a tourist. I
mhm.
actually have a list of places to visit and I still haven't checked all of everything, which is
Mm,
sad, but I promised myself to go out like every weekend and visit all those places, which is really amazing because I
mhm,
don't feel like I actually live in New York. And there were even days where I'm really sad and I just step out of my apartment. I just go anywhere and I always ask myself, why? Why are you sad? I mean, you're in your dream place and you have
mhm.
so many things to do and it's really nice, but
Yeah,
I never felt like I'm actually a local because I never run out of things to do and places to visit.
right. It never gets old, right? I
Yeah,
feel
it
like yeah, it
never
never gets.
gets old.
Yeah, and I feel like even the people who are, I would say locals, people who were, who are in the city for
Mhm.
years and years, I feel like they still haven't really experienced New York as a whole. Like I just feel like there's
Yeah.
so much to it, right? There's so much
Mhm.
to the
So much,
city.
yeah.
Yeah, and whether it's finding good restaurants or tasting or trying to find the best pizza because I've
Mhm.
heard great things about New York
Yeah.
pizza. Like that is
Yeah.
I'm sorry about this, but the number one okay. So the number one reason why I want to visit New York is because I want to
The
see like
pizza.
his friends and How I Met Your Mother. I want to just like
Mhm.
check out the spots or whatever. Number two, I want to try New York pizza, authentic New York pizza. And
Yeah.
of course you've been in this city for like a year. How is that
Mhm.
like? Have you tried the pizza?
Thank God I didn't gain much weight from eating out so much.
Uh,
But
mm.
yeah, I think I've tried this dollar pizza before,
Yeah,
and
mm.
well, honestly, I'm not really a huge pizza enthusiast, so I really couldn't tell the difference. Oh my God, I suck. But for me, it's like it comes with the experience, knowing the fact that you're eating the pizza in New York
Mhm,
makes the experience different. But
mhm,
for
mhm.
me, the pizza itself is just like regular pizza. Or maybe I don't
Okay.
know. Maybe I'm just
Yeah,
missing
it's good or
something.
different. Yeah.
But
Or probably because I mean, you're not I don't know. Do you consider yourself a foodie? Because I've always one thing that I really appreciate though is I've been seeing that you've been trying to cook more, right?
hmm
Since
yeah,
of course
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense when you move into a different place, you really try to cook
hmm
more because I feel like it's also more financially reasonable,
yeah, for
right?
sure.
And
Honestly, I really tried my best to avoid eating out so much
mhm,
because let me tell you that life or everything in New York is expensive. Like the moment
yeah,
you step out of your apartment, you'll automatically spend like
you're losing money.
$50 in a bar. Yeah, you're losing so much
Mm,
money.
mm,
So I don't know. I haven't tried
mhm.
everything yet.
Yeah. I feel like
I think
as
I'm missing
Filipinos,
out.
yeah, because I feel like as Filipinos, I don't know if you're I don't know if I'm the only one who does this, but I feel like I'm not. I feel like my mom also does this. Any
hmm
Filipino who spends a different currency
Mm-hmm.
we don't spend it thinking about that currency. We always, as Filipinos, convert
Convert.
it
Oh
to peso first, and then we realize that this is how much money I'm spending.
oh my,
Seriously,
I can relate so
right?
much.
That's such a Filipino thing to do. I feel like
It
it's
is,
just
yeah. when
so.
when my sister found out that I'm doing that, she was like, "Why are you even bothering computing it in Philippine peso? Like you're earning dollars. You shouldn't even thinking about the amount in peso, you know?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't do that because that's one of the reasons why I'm so iffy about spending so much because I always try to convert it in Philippine peso and
Yeah,
every
and
time I see
zeros
the
just add up,
amount,
right?
it's yeah, right? It's like,
There's
oh my God, I'm
yeah,
spending this much.
yeah.
I don't
And
know. Maybe it's just a Filipino thing.
I don't know because it's weird. It's always been weird. Like again, I love watching American TV shows, and every time they say like,
Mm-hmm.
"Want to bet $20 on it?" Let's bet $20 on it, and they say like
Mm-hmm.
$20, but in my mind that was like 1,000 pesos.
Exa-
That's how
exactly.
1,000 pesos. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So that's just insane. So I would understand if I were like a tourist in New York. I don't have a full-time job there. I'm definitely still going to be doing that. But even I feel
Mm-hmm.
like even if I do have a job in New York, I would still have this like small voice in my head automatically computing to peso, even though you can't really do it,
Yeah.
right? Because at the end of the day, that's what you're
Mm-hmm.
going to spend. But just like think about it, like yeah, what you said, right? Like when you go out, it's automatically like at least $50 that you're gonna spend.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind,
Yeah.
that was automatically like 2,500.
Right? I know. It's so hard. Like sometimes I feel like I'm doing it subconsciously.
Mm.
I don't know. It's a thing.
Yeah,
But
that's really good. That's really funny because yeah, that's again a different thing. And is doing touristy things in New York expensive? Like visiting oh my god, I actually forgot the lady holding the lamp. What torch?
Lady Liberty, I think.
Statue of
I'm
Liberty.
not even sure.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
Is that
Statue of Liberty. Have
Lady
you
Liberty? What the heck is that?
yeah. Have you visited?
Um, actually, in New York, for you to get to places, it's not that expensive because the parks are free. Brooklyn Bridge, you can see that for free. Dumbo,
Mhm.
Central Park. You don't need to pay for anything to
Mm,
go there. Well, except the subway.
mm.
But it gets expensive when you buy food, you buy souvenir, and it's really nice that New York has a lot of public parks
Mm.
because yeah, sometimes I just go there every weekend, read, pack my sandwich and iced coffee and just chill there. And I've always wished that we have those parks in the Philippines, because it's really
Yeah.
relaxing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really good for mental health.
Mm. That's really because that's always I remember I had this conversation with a friend and we were talking about that how great
Mhm.
it is to have
Do
parks,
things
more
for free.
parks
Yeah.
in the Philippines that people can enjoy because I feel like because we only have very few places here in the Philippines that are free, it's
Mhm.
being I don't know, it's not being taken care of. I'm not dissing on the people who go there, but
Mhm. We have no
because
choice.
yeah, I feel like we all have to take responsibility of ensuring that these parks are well kept, so
Yeah,
it's not
yeah, definitely.
disgusting. You know, it doesn't become
Mhm.
disgusting. Um, I personally, in my 27 years of existence, I have never been to a park. Um,
Really?
I have never been to a park. Okay, let me correct that. I have been to Rizal Park once on a field trip. I did not
I was
enjoy
gonna
it
say that's so sad. Maybe you're
because
just not a park person.
I don't know of many parks. I know Rizal Park, and it doesn't look like a park. It looks like an outdoor. It it's just an outdoor
Yeah.
there are no, they're
Well,
not.
yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Because my vision of a park is like, there are a lot of really breezy trees and good
Mm-hmm.
shades, beautiful benches, just
Like you
something like
can actually lie down on the grass.
yeah, something like that. Rizal Park is not like that. I mean, that's not what I remember Rizal Park to be. So
Yeah.
I that doesn't count to me. For me, it's more
Mm-hmm.
of like an outdoor museum that people use to meet up
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't know, do crazy things and just mess up. I don't know. That's so
Mm-hmm.
that is one of the things that is, one thing that I want to do when I visit New York or if I visit, I know I'm going to say when, I'm definitely going to want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to visit Central Park. I really want to see how it is like, because I always see this. I've seen this picture of like an aerial shot of New York, where half
Mm-hmm.
is like
It's really big.
the buildings and really the I would say the
The
concrete junk.
part.
Yeah, and then the
Yeah.
other half is like this beautiful top of the trees, and then the park. And I just feel like that's such a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful contrast that I really want to
It
see.
is. That's what I love about New York.
Mm,
On the other side, it's the very corporate side,
mm,
buildings, people always in a hurry. And
mm,
then on the other side, you can just go to the park and relax and chill and like read a book, which is
mm,
really nice because you get the best of both worlds.
mm-hmm.
And in
Right.
the Philippines, we don't have much parks to relax. It's just malls. I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad, but I just wish
We are
we
more
invest
malls. Yeah.
more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Filipinos are more into malls.
That's
I feel
true.
yeah. I feel like we have the I don't know if I got that right. We have the biggest mall, right? In the world.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
I feel
so.
like as a
Yeah.
country we have the most. I don't know, like every even like it's not even a city and there's like a small SM and I don't know, like it just
That's true. Yeah.
every Jesus Christ, like there's malls everywhere and I guess it's me being a sort
That's
of like
true.
I'm not a big because I don't really like going to the malls unless I have a purpose for
You
being
need
there. I need to
something.
buy
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I need something. I want to eat something which is in the mall. But
Mm-hmm.
I am not a big fan of just like window shopping because that for me is torture. Like why am I
It
going to look
is.
at things that I
Things you can't
am not going to
buy.
buy, right? So I'm not going to do
Yeah.
that. If I'm going to do that, I'll do online window shopping so at least other people won't see me. But
Mm-hmm.
um I I guess this is the bookworm and then the old soul in me, but I would love to see more public libraries that
That's
have
true.
really good
Yeah. That everyone can access.
exactly, right? That everyone can access and just, you know, grow. I would say because
Mm-hmm.
I would say that I have grown so much in reading.
Yeah.
It has taught me a lot about life and just books have taken me to places I have never been to before and I
Mm-mm.
probably never
Yeah.
will be in
Yeah.
life. I'm still waiting for my Hogwarts letter, but no, but like seriously, that is and if I'm not mistaken, New York has a lot of like really good
Public, yeah, public libraries. Actually, I feel really bad because I haven't been to any of the public libraries. I
mm.
feel like now that we're talking about everything, I feel like I'm missing so much.
You are because again, it's
I
expensive to step out, right?
yeah,
Uh,
I hope this COVID ends really soon. I'm
mm.
missing New York so much now.
No,
But yeah, I
yeah.
feel bad.
Yeah, and you know what? I've always had this vision of myself like just doing the New Yorkie, the New Yorker
Yeah.
thing, wherein I
Yeah.
just like in the morning I grab a bagel and a cup of coffee in one of those
Yeah.
trucks, food trucks, and
Food
then I just
trucks,
yeah,
yeah.
I always thought that would be like that
Just
would be
don't convert
nice.
everything in Philippine peso.
Yeah, that would. Can I ask you though? Is that something that you can disclose? Like, how much is a cup of coffee on average?
Um, well, in Manhattan, it's well, not very expensive. I think it ranges for about an Americano is $2 to $2 to $3. And if you
Okay.
get like the fancy coffee, like the
Mhm.
espresso cappuccino, it's like $4 to $5. And another thing in New York, well, in America in general, it's required for you to give a tip. It's
Yeah.
like 15%, 20%.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need it's really required. So plus tip. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
expensive. I think during my first few days at work, I was buying coffee every day. And when I tracked my
Expenses.
monthly spend yeah, expenses, I was like, holy shit, I spent like $50 for coffee.
Oh
It's
God. I
it's a
automatically
bad
converted
habit.
your $50, by the way. I automatically converted that in my mind. Yeah, so that
See, you
doesn't,
can't even
yeah.
control it.
Yeah, okay, it's just like automatic. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's insane. Because I feel like, okay, let's just talk about this real quick. A lot of people think millennials are very irresponsible when it comes to money. That is something that we
Mm-hmm.
always get shit about, I would say.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
have this, we have this image of being too carefree with our finances, more like YOLO and um,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Irresponsible.
yeah, just having fun now and then not really thinking about the future. I don't think that's
Mm-hmm.
the case with everyone. Like, that's a lot of boomers and a lot of other generations are not
Yeah.
financially responsible either. So I feel like
Yeah.
we can't really generalize. And I love talking to people. And you're younger than me. You're
Mm-hmm.
23?
Five.
You're oh,
Five.
25, you're 25. My God, I thought you were like,
I got
okay,
23. Yeah.
okay, you're 25. But I remember
Mm-hmm.
when you were still here and we were having this conversation. You are, I would say, financially responsible. You already have this like plan. You already have this, yeah, you already
Mm-hmm.
have sort of like this financial plan, I
Mm-hmm.
would say, and
Yeah.
you are one of the most financially responsible people I know who are under 30. And
Mm-hmm.
has that um proven to be a benefit while you're in New York? Like that being financially responsible of yours?
Well, actually, one of the main reasons why I really pushed through with this is for me to save. Since I'm earning dollars, when you
Mm,
convert it to Philippine peso, um I feel like I'm earning and saving so much money compared to when I just stay in the Philippines.
mhm,
So it's really a benefit in terms of the money I'm earning and the money I'm being able to save. And I feel like I don't want to call myself that responsible, but I'm very much aware of where my money's going. And
that's really nice.
I feel like I just learned along the way,
Mhm,
because looking back, a few years ago, I don't even care where my money's going. Like my
mhm,
first salary, I think I just treated my family. I bought all the things I wanted to buy. But right now, it's really different. Like I'm very much aware of where my money's going. Like I
mhm,
have a specific budget for this, budget
mhm,
for that.
mhm,
Especially when I was still in New York, like paying my rent. The moment I received my salary, I have a list of where my money should go first. Like I have a list of priorities. Like number one is rent. Second is like the utilities I pay, like the electricity,
mhm.
internet bills, stuff like that. And
Yeah,
then third one is my savings. I require myself to separate my savings the moment I receive my salary. And
that's really
then
great.
fourth is like groceries, necessities, stuff like that. And
Mhm,
then the last would be my allowance, like my daily allowance for coffee, for eating
mm,
out with friends. So I really made it a point to follow this habit in terms of money, because I made sure before going to New York, I've always reminded myself that I'm gonna be alone and I'm gonna be responsible for everything, including my
mhm,
money. Like my
mhm,
mom's not gonna be here to remind me where I should spend my money.
mhm,
So, it's really a matter of discipline, I would say,
mhm.
and being aware of everything, being smart of everything.
Right. That's really good. I'm really proud of you in doing that, and a part of me envies that because I'm a mom. Like I've been a
Mm-hmm.
profession. I've been working since I was 18. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
mom. I'm a full-time career. I'm a full-time career woman, a full-time mom. But I would say that I am not as disciplined
Mm-hmm.
financially. I am, mature enough to admit that. I don't have like that list of,
Mm-hmm.
because some people they even have an app that tracks their
Yeah.
expenses, right? I
Mm-hmm.
tried that. It lasted a month, and I'm just like,
Well, I
it's
did
too
that
soon.
before. I did that.
Hmm. And I feel like, yeah, again, I'm just like really happy that you're able to really have that level of maturity and keep that mindset when you're in New York, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be tough if you just let loose and just throw your
Mm-hmm.
money around. That's going to be really
Yeah.
tough for you. So I'm really happy to hear about that. But on that note, I need to ask you, what is your biggest splurge? Like, what is that thing that you really couldn't help but spend on?
Um, maybe clothes. Like I
Okay.
said, I'm not really a foodie,
Mhm,
so I just stick to my budget when it comes to groceries, and
mm.
I have an allowance for eating out, which is like maybe twice or thrice a month. But with clothes, funny story, I actually this thing called clothing allowance
Okay.
where I specifically have a budget for clothes
Mhm,
every cutoff.
mhm.
So I think, which is not good, I think, but
Well,
it's my splurge, yeah.
yeah, it's your splurge. It's what makes you
But
feel
yeah,
good, you
so
know?
yeah, and it's kind of my reward
Mhm.
for sticking to my budget,
Right,
which is
right.
ironic, but yeah,
No,
it
but
works, I think.
yeah, I feel like we all deserve, when you work hard, when you hustle, you
Hmm.
need that small thing to reward yourself, whether it's again,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it depends on how much you're earning versus what your splurge is,
Spend.
right?
Yeah,
If you're
spending.
earning, yeah, if you're earning, I can only say in like in pesos, but if you're earning like
Mhm.
uh 20,000 pesos and your
Mhm.
splurge is
A
to,
thousand, let's say.
yeah, like 1,000 for clothes, I feel like that's reasonable, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But say if your splurge is buying 8,000 peso sneakers every month, that's just messed up. That's just wrong.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah,
And
I don't do that.
yeah, and
It hurts my heart
I
every
don't think
time
I've
I
that.
spend
I
a large amount of money. I can't.
Yeah, that's just crazy. And I because sorry, let's just here in the Philippines, right? You were here during
Hmm.
the milk tea craze, right?
The
The
what? Sorry.
milk tea craze. You were
Oh
still here.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I know people. I know students who
Hmm.
can afford for some reason to drink milk tea every day. Milk tea ranges from like 80 pesos to 120, 130,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And they're not even working. So people who are working and they manage to buy milk tea every day or even go to Starbucks every day, that is just
Hmm.
how do you do that? And
I know, right? I know.
yeah. And so for me, that clothing allowance of yours, I feel like, it's really reasonable. And at the same,
Hmm.
it's something that you use and you can use in the future. So that just like makes
Yeah,
sense.
I always say to myself that it's an investment because I'm gonna use it in a few years. I
That's
always
true.
make an excuse for it to be valid.
Yeah, and you're not buying crappy clothes. So again, guys, if she has a very artsy Instagram, and her YouTube channel is also great. You can see her outfits there, and I've seen your pictures, and I love your outfit though. Like I love the
Thank
coat
you.
and the
Yeah.
I remember commenting on a few pictures, and I'm just like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Like
You
I
know,
love
I wasn't like that when I was in the Philippines. I feel like it's really part of being in New York, like
when
buying
you were in the
clothes.
Philippines, you were just wearing like pants, doll shoes, and a sleeveless top. You love sleeveless tops. I get it because you have your toes. I'm sorry, I would
No,
flaunt
it's
those.
just warm in the Philippines. It's
Yeah,
just
that's true.
warm.
In New York, you could explore with layers, right? And layers are
Yeah.
always, I would say, fashionable. So
And I
that's
can wear anything I want because who cares? You know, when you're in New York City, no one gives a shit what you're wearing.
oh, definitely. When I go to New York, I'd probably be just like strutting around, like whatever
Mm.
knee-high boots. Yes,
No one's gonna notice you.
yeah, yeah. And again, with the boots, I love. Do you wear boots when you're like during the?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like a
So,
staple in New York.
yeah, because like
But if I'm in the Philippines, I'm never gonna wear boots.
interesting story. So if I could just like interject,
Yeah.
I if I'm gonna be honest, boots are my favorite footwear. I love
Mm-hmm.
boots. When I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, I was I don't know 18, no, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was like 17 to like 21, I had
Mm-hmm.
a lot of boots. Like a lot of boots. And I was in the Philippines. There was time it's
So
silly. I
cute.
because the thing is I didn't know when I was younger, I didn't know that it's silly. Like it looked silly in the Philippines. I was just like, I want to wear it. Like I like boots. And
Yeah.
then okay, I got a little bit more comfortable in wearing boots when I started working in a call center where
Mm-hmm.
I feel like any type of fashion is acceptable as well. Call centers are like mini New York cities. But yeah, yeah, there's really no judgment when it comes to your outfit.
Yeah.
But once you step out, it becomes weird. I remember there was this one time I was wearing boots, high heeled boots that are a bit
Mm-hmm.
high, at least below the knees. I had I had this guy come up to me and he was just like I know it wasn't a mocking way, and he was just like, "Groovy, groovy." It was just like, "Groovy, groovy tayo, ah." And I was just like, "Oh, fuck that." You know
Oh
what?
my god. You
That
know,
really
I can relate so much because
mhm,
honestly, well, I studied in a design school, so obviously people dressed up during college, and there's like a fashion course in my design school. So obviously everyone was wearing fancy fashion clothes.
mhm, mhm,
So me and my friends got into this phase where we wear fancy clothes for a photo shoot, right?
mhm,
And so I had this crazy idea of wearing my boots that I used for my CAT when I was in high school
mhm,
because I thought it was cute, it was fashionable.
mhm.
And then in the bus, I think, a man jokingly said, "Ma'am, yes, ma'am," because
Oh,
I was
yeah.
wearing combat boots that time.
Oh, but they
It's
look
like,
so nice. I also have combat boots. Like, I had combat boots. It's such a, it's crap. Like that. I hate that. You know what? Here's the thing. A lot of the Filipinos right now are into Korean
yeah.
stuff. I was gonna say shit.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but I mean Korean stuff, right?
Yeah.
And but I don't understand why we're still mocking the fashion when it's applied here in our country. I mean, I
Right?
get it. Boots are like, well, you know what? Boots are not even, it depends on the boot style, okay, people?
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not bad. It's not all full for winter. There are different boot styles. Let's all be open minded, please, because I really want to go back to wearing
Mhm.
boots. I love them. They're so comfortable
Yeah.
too. Like, I love boots. I can't anyway. So yes, I just wanted to ask you about that, wearing boots in New York because that's like
Mhm.
it's so chic. And yeah.
And it's normal to wear boots in New York.
And how many pairs of boots do you have already? Do you know? Do you
What's
still
that?
how
Sorry.
many pairs of boots do you have?
I think I just have one pair. No, I have two pairs. One is the heeled boots and one's the regular like combat boots. And then I actually bought one snow boots, but unfortunately it didn't snow that much this year.
Oh,
Sad.
that
Yeah.
that's kind of crappy though, right? That's like a way to rain on your parade. Like I bought
I
snow boots,
know.
literally snow boots.
I
There's no
was
snow.
prepared.
Yeah. That would be really nice though, right? It was just like, have you
Hmm.
experienced? Oh, okay, so December, you spent Christmas
Yeah.
in the city, and did you manage to experience the white Christmas?
Well, actually, I spent Christmas in Virginia with family, but that's just like a few weeks. But winter in New York this year, it's not really that snowy. So I wasn't able to wear my snow boots because it's kind of weird wearing snow boots without the snow.
It's just
But
boots. Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
it's just my regular boots. Yeah, it's still
yeah.
considered as boots. But it really got super cold. But yeah, no snow, global warming, I guess.
That's crappy. It's probably delayed again, like everything, because
Yeah.
the Earth is healing. Oh well. So
I hope so.
yeah, I really do hope so. So just going back real quick, between, because like I'm sure you miss the Philippines, right?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. What would you say the biggest differences are between Philippines and New York, as well as what are the similarities? Are there any?
Um, Thinking about it, maybe geologically speaking, I wouldn't say much because they're both crowded, they're both like polluted, noisy, even stinky.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
places are accessible via commute, so it's not something new to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say they're both beautiful in their own ways. Um, Maybe the difference is that in New York, like what we've talked about earlier, you'll encounter so much differences when it comes to people, the
Mm-hmm.
community, ethnicity, nationalities, classes, even stereotypes, and even the crazies. Um, like what I've mentioned before, I feel like I've seen everything, that
Mm-hmm.
even those things that I didn't want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And there are rude people, yeah. But you know what? Actually, people don't really say much about the amount of kind people you'll encounter in the city. Like New
Ah.
Yorkers are one of the nicest, kindest people I've come across.
Oh, that's
And
nice. Yeah.
and it's kind of weird because when I was doing my research, like reading articles or even reading stuff on Reddit, I would always see people complain how New Yorkers are. Like rude,
Mm-hmm.
they're yeah, rude. And when I got to New York, I never really experienced that kind of rude, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm so surprised because I was like, the actually, you know, the tourists are the ones who were very rude. But
Ah. Okay.
real New Yorkers in
Mm.
general, they're really kind, they're really sweet. They would actually tell you something if your bag is open, if you dropped something, they would really bother tap you and
Mm.
tell you things, which is really nice.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay. Yeah, and that is, I agree. That is something that I feel like not a lot of people talk about, because every time New
Mhm.
York is portrayed, the people are always shown as,
Rude, right?
rude. Yeah, rude and just like
Mhm.
ruthless, that they
Mhm.
don't give a shit about you, You either
Yeah.
go with the flow or just get out of here.
Yeah,
They
get
kind of
out of
have that.
there.
So that's good to know. That's really good to know.
Mhm.
Um so yeah, I feel like before we end this podcast, I would be interested to know, and I'm sure it's not just me, but our listeners as well. What are
Mhm.
the lessons you've learned so far in your experience
Uh-huh.
that you want to share with people who aspire, with Filipinos who also aspire to one day step foot or maybe start their career even in New York or in any, foreign country?
Yeah. Oh God, I don't even know where to begin. If you ask me to write things down, I might need a notebook.
Okay, I'll know
The
I'll
list.
note it down. No, I'm just kidding.
But I'll try my best to shorten everything.
Okay.
But yeah, from being a spoiled child, well, not really spoiled brat, but I got used to having people around me to do stuff for me. I grew up with kasambahay at home who did things for me before. I used to have my parents who basically paid for everything. So I was really living a comfortable life. Like, imagine for the past 25 years, I've never experienced being independent before.
Mhm.
And um, moving to a complete different environment, like being on my own for the first time in 25 years, it really taught me so much that I feel like I won't be able to learn if I stayed in the Philippines. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
the daily chores, like budgeting my money, where my money's going, paying rent, doing my own groceries, waking up early in the morning, preparing for my own breakfast, preparing my dinner. I don't even know how to cook before.
Mhm.
Right now, I learned how to cook fancy meals because I told myself I'm not gonna live a life eating canned goods every day or
Mhm.
instant
Mhm.
noodles every day.
Right.
So I'm really proud of myself for going out of my way, you know, um, learning everything from scratch.
Mhm.
And it's actually one of the many reasons why I really wanted to do this because I know that I'm not just doing this for my career growth, but I'm also doing it for my personal growth, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
And even with my mental health, before it was so easy to deal with my anxiety and overthinking because I have my family, my friends, even my boyfriend to distract me from all of those negative emotions. But when I lived on my own, I started feeling all kinds of things I've never felt before, like
Mhm.
the anxiety, the panic attacks, the homesickness,
Right.
even the self-doubt. All those negative thoughts, they can really eat you up. But I realized that it's just going to be me majority of the time. So I really forced myself to deal with everything.
Mhm.
um I really prioritized my mental health. And it's funny because I have a diary. I kept a journal. I tried meditating. I really built healthy habits,
Mhm.
and because it really helps with my mental health,
Right. Right.
and I really made myself busy. I made sure to not avoid all those negative feelings because I learned that the more you avoid it, the more they keep coming back. So
Mhm.
it may sound cliche, but I really embraced all the emotions, both the negative and the positive,
Mhm.
and I learned to live with it. And eventually things just got easier for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's really hard making a major move like this. It may sound scary, overwhelming, impossible, and even difficult.
Mhm.
But you know what? If I'd be given the chance to do it again, even let's say in my next life, I would definitely do it again in a heartbeat. And in a few years, no matter where life takes me, I'll always look back, mm, with a smile on my face,
Mhm.
thanking myself for allowing to go through all these, for allowing myself to explore and learn.
Mhm.
And I'll always be grateful for that decision. So for those who are thinking about making any major life decisions, it's not just specifically like moving to New York or moving abroad for a job. It may be like the smallest things, like accepting
Mhm.
a job offer,
Mhm.
or going or applying for a job that you're passionate about. It may be the smallest things. If you're waiting for a push,
Mhm.
if you're waiting for a go signal, I would say just go do it because it's always worth the risk. If you're not
Right.
scared enough, I mean, if you're scared enough, I'm sure it's gonna be worth it in the end. It
That
sounds
is true.
really cheesy, but it's really true.
Yeah, it's really true. I don't know how many times I've said this line before, but it always rings true that nothing that's worth it is ever easy, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Because if it is, then if it is easy to achieve, then I feel like you have very low goals. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's really more satisfying
Yeah.
achieving something that's, overcoming a hill that is really high, I
Yeah.
would say,
If
right?
it scares you enough, yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like we can also tie this in with the current situation. With the COVID-19
Mm-hmm.
happening, I feel like a lot of us uh have, also reflected, and
Mm-hmm.
we all must realize that life is short. Life is not what
Yeah.
we expect it to be, or
Mm-hmm.
life has a lot of like funny, not funny, but a lot of interesting turns that
Yeah,
we don't
for
really see
sure.
coming. With this COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of families were put apart, I would say. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people's
In a way, yeah.
a lot of friends can't see each other physically, and we couldn't do the things that we normally did but probably took for granted. And
Yeah.
I feel like we all just have to look back to that and just think and reflect on that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's stop taking each day lightly. I'm not saying be an emotion,
Mm-hmm.
be a heavy thinker all the time and just be like a deep
Yeah.
person. No, that's not what I'm saying. But we all have to remember it's really important to take each day seriously in a way that
Mm-hmm.
you let your loved ones know that you love them. um
Yeah. Yeah.
you do
Even the
some
smallest thing, you
right,
know?
right, yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit religious here, but thank God that
Mm-hmm.
you woke up that day and that you have the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to do what you're gonna do that day. um
Yeah,
Also,
that's true.
do something each day that would make you happy and that would help you
Mm-hmm.
grow. I
That
feel
is
like
true. Yeah.
the COVID-19, the lockdowns, the quarantines that are happening, we are given a unique opportunity to make ourselves grow in the comforts of
Yeah.
our own homes, right? To really
Mm-hmm.
work on
That's
something,
true.
work on our passion, or perfect
Mm-hmm.
something, or try to do something that we've always wanted to do but put aside because we just didn't have the time for it, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true. And also, I know it's been a difficult time for everybody.
mhm.
So I don't want to put the pressure on everyone that you have to be productive because this is your only chance
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah. Hmm.
But at the same time, I also want everyone to prioritize their mental health, because this
Hmm.
is the perfect time for you to learn so much about yourself,
That's true.
mentally, emotionally, and even physically. So I don't know, maybe just take your time, do it
Yeah.
slowly, learn everything about yourself because
Hmm.
this is the perfect time to do it, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. And I like that you brought up the mental health issue because a lot of people that I know right now are becoming just too stressed out about
Mhm.
the politics behind the
Yeah.
pandemic. And we just have to like sometimes that just becomes so much. It becomes so stressful, and I just like really want to encourage everyone. I'm not saying not to voice out your opinion, not to be opinionated about the
Mhm.
matter, not to be involved in the matter. That's not what I'm saying. But I just
Mhm.
encourage everyone to take a step back when you're feeling too negative about it, because that
Mhm.
affects your mental wellness really
Yeah.
badly. And
Yeah.
I myself am, because I myself, when I get like negative emotions strongly, I feel them strongly, it has a physical effect. It manifests physically. And that's the
Mhm.
last thing that we want during this tough time,
Yeah, for
right?
sure. Mhm.
Yeah. So I think that's what that is what we want to encourage everyone to do. Love yourself, love
Mhm.
the people around you.
Everyone,
Yeah,
yeah.
right? And let's just spread positivity. Let's
That's
be
true.
Right? Let's all be outlets of positive energy and of love
Mm-hmm.
and just happiness. There's so many problems in the
Yeah.
world, so many darkness so many darkness out there. And we would appreciate all the love and joy that we could possibly get, right? So
Yeah.
that's fine.
Share the love, share
Yeah,
the
share the love.
positivity.
Yeah. And by the way, Camille, you're one of the most honestly, like I loved working with you because you are a positive person. I mean,
Thank
you're quiet. You're
you.
quiet, but you've never been I've never gotten the vibe that you were ever like negative and just a pessimistic
Mm-hmm.
person, you know? I love your vibe. I loved your vibe ever since we
Eh,
started working together. And
you
I
know
still
what?
have
It actually depends on the person I'm to or
Aw.
I'm with. So if I'm positive
Okay.
to you, it means that I also feel the positive vibe from you.
That's I like that. I like that. I still have your letter, by the way. So yeah, I'm just gonna yeah, I
Aww.
still have that. I still hate
That's
you partly for
nice.
making me cry, but yeah. Okay, well, do you have any parting words for our audience before we go?
uh, Nothing. Just follow your heart. Whatever you want to do, just do it. Don't spend another day thinking about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, do the Nike way and just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Camille. Really, I
Yeah,
appreciate. I
no,
love our
thank you.
conversation. Yeah, and stay safe in
Yeah,
Virginia,
you too.
and regards to your family and your very cute little baby there. Not your
Oh,
baby, but
I
your
not
no,
my
not her
I
baby.
have
It's
a
not
baby.
her baby. It's your nephew, right? Uh,
Yeah. You
it's
too, and your beautiful child.
yeah, she's great. She's amazing. So, all right, thank you very much again. Thank you, Camille, and thank you for our audience for tuning into another
Yeah,
episode
no
of Epoch
problem.
Podcast. I look forward to seeing you again, whether that be here in the Philippines or hopefully in
For
New York.
sure, yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
thank
Camille.
you too for your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us this week on Eat Walk Play. Make sure to visit our website, eatwalkplay.com, where you can read travel guides and news, food reviews, and more. And while you're at it, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Eat Walk Play, for awesome and in-depth video content. We'd also love you more if you could follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Now, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating, or if you'd simply tell your friends about this podcast, that will really help us out too. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode on good eats, great travels, and grand adventures. Catch you later.